A sprawling maze of lush grasslands and waterways. A cascade of thundering mist. And amongst all that, majestic giants. All precious resources within the Kavango-Zambezi Transfrontier Conservation Area, or KAZA, as it's known to locals. It's the world's largest wildlife conservation area. A massive initiative to protect southern Africa's precious biodiversity and the millions of people who depend on it. 36 protected areas, 5 African countries, and a man tasked with preserving the life within. Conservationist Simon Munthali has been advising KAZA for 2 years.
The spot where we are, this is in Chobe National Park, one of the 36 protected areas in the KAZA Transfrontier Conservation Area. In this area, at least you can see 2 KAZA partner countries. We have Namibia across there. We have Botswana on your right. One of the ecological objectives of KAZA TFCA is to protect the shared ecosystems. And one of those important ecosystems is the river basin, which you can see in front of us. Coordinated approach to conservation is paramount for sustainable conservation of biodiversity and ecosystems in general. The reason for that is that you pull together various stakeholders to optimize skills and resources and also promote livelihood development for the local communities. Chobe National Park is a very important protected area within the KAZA landscape. Firstly, it harbors the highest elephant population in the region. And secondly, it clearly demonstrates the linkage with other countries and demonstrates the connectivity of ecosystems. The point where we are, we have Namibia on the left-hand side there. There we have the water resources being shared between Botswana and Namibia. We also look at wildlife. We have across there, you can see a herd of buffaloes. The population of buffalo there is a shared population by Botswana and Namibia. If you come on your right here, we have Botswana. So Chobe is, to me, Chobe as well as areas in Namibia are the heart of the KAZA. Protection in this park here is very good. The government of Botswana is investing a lot of resources in ensuring that the biodiversity in this park is well protected. The point where we are here, I think, exemplifies a wildlife corridor that links Zimbabwe, Namibia, and Botswana. Wildlife corridors are very important, and we use them as one of the indicators of success for the development of the KAZA Transfrontier Conservation Area, in a sense that we would like to see wildlife freely move from one country to the other in search of resources such as water and habitat, and also there are other a factor that trigger wildlife to move from one part of KAZA to the other. Part of that could be intra and interspecific competition among the wildlife species, and also it would be issues of behavior, or it would be issue of breeding. So wildlife does move; they do not recognize international boundaries. So where we are now, you could see that we have hippos in the water there. These hippos, of course, they stray into Namibia, and of course also forage on the Botswana side. So this is very important because from a political and ecological perspective, we will have succeeded if animals can move freely across international boundaries and start utilizing available habitat that is available within the Kasa landscape. So corridors is one of the very prominent activities that we are now working on. The idea is to facilitate, like I said, free movement of this wildlife. Botswana is a shining example in Africa because of its approach to wildlife management. Botswana, in my view, is perhaps at the moment the only country that properly utilizes the military, the defense force. This country uses the defense force to protect the wildlife, to mitigate wildlife crimes, and I think that is the best way of utilizing the military, the defense forces in Africa. We don't have wars anywhere in Southern Africa at the moment, and we don't expect to see wars in the near future. And therefore, to me, I think the best way of utilizing the military is to have the military start protecting wildlife resources, because wildlife is a very important economic asset. So Botswana is a shining example, and this is why you can drive very close to an elephant without any being startled by the vehicle. In other countries, even within the Kasa landscape, the mere sight of a vehicle, animals will run away because they are being harassed. So wildlife, I talked a little earlier on about wildlife moving from one country to the other. That is only going to be achieved if wildlife is safe. We need to create safe passages, and in doing so, we'd like coordinated and integrated approach to law enforcement, whereby the defense force is also integrated into the process of protecting wildlife.
As evening descends on the Okavango Delta, a pride of lions slowly stir to life. Nestled among the tall grass, cubs pounce with energy. For the lionesses, it's a slower start, waking up from their day's slumber, preparing for the night's prowl. In the cool hours of dusk, the group finally begins to move. Lions prefer open savannas, but the Okavango prides have adapted to their wetland habitat. The delta will soon flood with change as the rains begin. Animals will be on the move, though their migration routes don't always take them through protected areas.